How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Stand Focused for Jesus. Hope each and every one of you are having a blessed day in the Lord Jesus Christ as always. Do you know how liberating it is to be able to sit here with my made in Bangladesh hat on? And probably my made in China hat, my made in China shirt, my made in China shorts, my made in China slides. I got the black slides from Walmart. My made in China probably drawers. Do you know? Oh, my made in China undershirt. Probably my made in China eyeglass frames. Man, it is so liberating. It is so liberating. Why? Because I don't give a damn. When I say I don't give a damn about these luxury brands. The cost of racism. You may say, what in the world does the current situation of the Trump tariffs and what China is doing have to do with racism? Has everything to do with racism. And guess who it leads back to? You shouldn't be shocked. It leads back to us. It's always about controlling the slaves. When the slaves start to rise up and rebel, and the other people, they start, hold on now. They get threatened. What is going on in the world right now? It's some crazy times. It's some exciting times we living in. I'm here for it. You know it's crazy. When God is using, the Most High is using a nation that is predominantly atheistic, China, to expose the truth, instead of using a nation that professes to be a Christian nation under God. Stop it. Stop it. We animated today, huh? We excited today, huh? Yeah, buddy. I've been new about this stuff. You know it's crazy when God is using atheistic China to expose the lies of America, expose lies of the world. A nation that's supposed to be a Christian nation. China told you, me and us in America, we had an agreement. We've been had an agreement. We took the money and we fixed our roads. We fixed our infrastructure. America, they took the money, and then what did America do? Line the pockets of these wicked ass, predominantly rich white folks. I ain't saying there ain't no black folks that's wicked at the top, but we know most of the people that's at the top that's rich, they ain't rich. They beyond, what we know is rich and wealthy in this current world. But we know spiritual riches and stuff, but we talking about physical riches in that regard and being able to do stuff in this world. Y'all got the money and then y'all gave it to them and then didn't even fix your roads. Your roads is raggedy. Your infrastructure is raggedy. Everything raggedy. You in your own city and you thinking like, yeah, man, that road right there, I go down that road every day. It's so raggedy. They need to fix it. Where the money at? Where the money going? But you got the Elon Musk is such a genius. Jeff Bezos is such a genius. I didn't have the same ideas and better ideas than Jeff Bezos. I just didn't have the money. I still got ideas that rival what Jeff Bezos did and all these different things. I just don't have the money. I don't have the time to be able to do it. But yeah, we just don't have the funds to be able to do these different ideas. So China coming in, they say, okay, y'all want to play that game? We got something for you. And then I don't know if you heard the guy, the clip is going around, and lady asked him, well, how you going to basically survive this? And dude said, China been around for over 5,000 years. We're going to be around for another 5,000 years. Of course, he's speaking that from that perspective. We don't think that China, we kind of like know that China ain't going to be around for no 5,000 years because Christ will most likely have come back by then. But you get his point, right? You're like, look, y'all ain't going to be able to survive. Y'all ain't going to be able to survive. I was buying stuff from China back in the early 2000s. I was buying Jordans, as they called the fake Jordans, from China and getting them shipped over to America in 2000 and selling them. In fact, a lot of the colorways that you see today that black folks go crazy for over the Jordans, we was creating them colors back in the 2000s. We was telling them folks, hey, we want this color, that color, can you do this, can you do this, can you do that? And if the quality wasn't good, because I would order shipment, I'm like, okay, these are our, and then I would order more. I've always been a businessman, it's in our blood as Hebrews, but I was literally flipping fake J's and fake Air Force One, but they weren't fake because I knew they were coming from the factory. And again, this is way back in the 2000s when it was a little bit more difficult. So this isn't nothing new to me. But you're saying, Brother King, tell us about this racism. What does this have to do with racism? Well, first and foremost, President Trump is a racist. He is a white supremacist. It is what it is. Let's just accept that. His best interest, well, I should say, the interest that he has the best he's looking out for is white people. Make America great again. We know what that means. You didn't decide you got these big balls, and China then came in and clipped your balls. Now let's also not forget that China is a part of what? BRICS. And China saying, okay, if you decide that you don't want to do right, we got something for you. We don't need your money. We can go to these other nations. You're only a portion of it. Are we going to do everything over here? No, you're not. America would not be able to build the infrastructure that fast. America would not be able to do on a motorized bicycle. America would not be able to get the materials like that to be able to produce the products that fast. It would just take too long. And then the money that will be lost in the process is something that America is not willing to lose. So again, how and what does this have to do with racism? The first point we made was President Trump and the American system is a system of racism. Pretty much everybody knows that. If you don't, then I don't know to tell you that you're at the wrong channel. Racism affects black folks, what we call black folks, first and foremost. And then it starts affecting everybody else. And that was what I was talking about in my prior video. And you're seeing these different things like, yeah, white folks is struggling. And when white folks start to struggle, it's different because they gonna cry before we cry. We gonna cry, we gonna put up with it and everything. But when white folks start struggling, like, yeah, I got less than 100,000 in the bank. I got less than 50,000 in the bank. I wish I did have 100,000 in the bank right now. If I had 100,000 in the bank, I wouldn't say it's a struggle. But I mean, I'm just being real, because some of y'all, you're like, bro, I'm sitting on 10 racks right now. I'm sitting on 20. I got about 50,000 in the bank right now. I ain't doing nothing with it. Well, if you doing nothing with it, hey, help a brother out, help a brother out. Help somebody else. Just don't let it sit there, because the Bible tells you not to do that. Do something with it. Not just let it sit there and say, I got 50 racks in the bank. You know what I'm saying? Y'all niggas can't mess with me and all this other stuff. But all these things are going on, and it's affecting everybody. China is saying, you ain't even got to go to Alibaba or DH Gate. You can come directly to us. Here go our information. You get the same stuff at a discount price. The question you must ask yourself is, who are the owner of these brands, these quote-unquote luxury brands? The people that own these luxury brands predominantly are old families with old money. Okay, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, we can go down the list, Chanel, all down the list, right? These are old families. The next question you must ask yourself is, if they are luxury brands, Where did they get the original money from to become a luxury brand of today? Oh, I think we're starting to put the pieces together. They got most of their initial money, they got it directly, indirectly, some way, some form, some fashion. They got it through slavery. Through the slavery of who? Or they took over somebody's old company and then grew it into what they grew it into today. Because if you look at a lot of the designs, and some of you notice, some of you don't, but I'm gonna give you an insider secret. A lot of the designs they're using, they are African designs. They are traditional African designs that they're using on their luxury brands, their luxury clothing. This is why y'all gotta travel. You gotta get out more. You gotta go travel the world on YouTube. My wife has had the blessing of being able to travel around the world because she was in the military. My wife been in South Korea. She was stationed over there where they got factories too, and they was selling the stuff and everything. But I've been around the world and everything. I do my due diligence and stuff like that. A lot of these patterns they're putting on their clothing and their bags and everything, they are traditional African designs, or they take a portion of it and they combine it with something else. Okay, it's starting to make a little bit more sense, Brother King. These brands today are luxury brands because they either took over somebody else's company that didn't look like them, or just like KFC. The original KFC recipe we know came from what? The dude's slave. And then KFC is now a multi-million, probably at one point in time, if not now, a multi-billion-dollar company. They sell a KFC everywhere. They sell KFC in South Africa, in Africa. You see what I'm saying? Based on the recipe of this black slave woman that was the cook. I think she was a slave, but either way, it was a black woman who the recipe was stolen from. We could talk about what's the whiskey company? Jack Daniels, the whiskey. The recipe came from a black man. I mean, we can go down a list, but we ain't got time for all that. You can do your research yourself. They built up their wealth off of the free labor of slaves. It always comes back to us. Why? Because the Bible told you that. Now, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be this way, because it should be the way that it is. Why? We were the ones that were and are collectively still disobedient. So don't make it seem like, oh, Brother King, you against what happened. No, I'm not against what happened, because what happened was what was supposed to happen. They're supposed to be in the position that they are in. As a reminder, y'all niggas is at the bottom, you the tail, because of your disobedience. That's why you're known as niggas and not, you're known as the derogatory term and understanding of niggas, and not the traditional and etymological, did I say that right? I didn't say that right. The etymology understanding of the word nigga, naga, which is king, black kings or black queens. Black, what we call black royalty, which deals with wisdom. And that's what the Most High told you to get. Get wisdom, get knowledge, and with all that getting, get understanding. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of boom. That's supposed to be us. So he took that term and then said, okay, I'm going to flip it. Y'all the tail now, it's going to be something derogatory. Nigga is going to be something derogatory now, and not something that is righteous and good and wholesome, which is what it originally was. Nigga was naga. Naga translates to basically wisdom, rulership, royalty, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So again, they built their initial wealth, rather directly, indirectly, somebody gave it to them. It still came off of the backs of slaves. If you give me free labor for 10 years and you give me a good price on materials, oh, I'll be richer than Elon Musk. Give me some free labor. Give me free labor right now. Even though I wouldn't do that. But just, for the argument's sake, give me free labor right now in 2025. Shoot. So just imagine back then they getting all that free labor, building railroads, building houses, literally building the infrastructure that we're still using today. The infrastructure of America today is still the same old infrastructure with certain upgrades, but basically the same infrastructure that our ancestors built. That's how outdated it is. Y'all know it because you're looking like, man, this is garbage. While these other nations are building up these infrastructure, China is building up infrastructures that are up to the time, up to code, up to date. Imagine that. Here we are under a crumbling infrastructure that was built off of the backs predominantly of our people. And then they brought in the poor whites. Y'all come on over, the immigrant, you immigrated. A lot of y'all that are quote unquote white, your kinfolks immigrated over here, but they weren't rich. They became rich because of opportunities that were given. When they brought y'all over here, they're like, look, I don't think at that time whites were even like really ruling. I think it was almost like the reason I say it is because there's this notion that, white folk just came over and took over America. No, y'all, no. Your original slave masters of America were not white. They looked like us. They were black. What we call black, brown. They were not white. The white folks came in later and took it over. Y'all have to understand that. Y'all have to understand. That's why I'm saying that. So when the immigrants, they came over, when the white immigrants said, y'all come on over, we're gonna pay y'all. We ain't gonna pay y'all good, but we're gonna pay y'all. And then even those white folk, they were fighting to be considered white. If you go study history, it tells you that the white folk that were coming over as immigrants, they weren't even considered white by the ruling white class that had the money and they had the power and stuff. So you had a ruling white class. You also had a ruling black class and everything. Then we know eventually this ruling black class, they went, down. They still around, but they went down. And then the ruling white class, they kept on going, and said, okay, we're gonna create these classes. We're gonna let the white folks that want to be white be considered white, so we can use them against the black folk, because we still got to keep these niggas down. At least they look like us, so they will side with us because of their skin color. But in actuality, we don't give a damn about them either. We don't give a damn about them either. We gonna get our money so we can rule the world and do these different things and rule over everybody in unrighteousness. And this is what so many white people are seeing today. Like, dang, these leaders, these white leaders, they made all these promises to us, and they're liars. They don't give a damn about us. Now, same white folks that came over as immigrants, hey, come on, black folks, let's come together. But when y'all came over here and you seen us as slaves and everything, I'm not saying that there was no immigrants that came over and they said this ain't, saying y'all shouldn't be doing this to people. And it was just a whole bunch of confusion, because it wasn't that we weren't supposed to be in slavery. The ruling white class, they understood that because they got the knowledge and wisdom and understanding from the ruling black class, who were the original slave masters. But it wasn't that we weren't supposed to be enslaved. The problem was, and again, this is why they used scripture, because they knew that they could use the scriptures, because the scriptures are spiritual to us. The problem was how they treated us. In the future, when we have slaves, because the Bible does say we will have slaves. I don't care what you say. We went over that 1,000 times. We will have slaves. But how we treat the slaves isn't going to be how the slaves of today are treated. So they built these empires off of the backs of our ancestors. And I'm not saying there was no white people included in that, because obviously there was, just like there is today. But predominantly we know it was built off of our backs, our people and everything. With free labor, now you can build these brands which are named after these families. These families are today's modern day slave masters. Now, again, you may say, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with you as a people and the Hebrews and everything? Well, we kind of like already explained it, but let's go a little bit deeper with it. I'm going to give you the answer to the question because you already know the answer. Who do you think, and this is going to bring it all together, who do you think are the number one consumers of luxury brands? Oh, dang. Yep. The number one consumers of luxury brands are, you got it, folks that look like me. Now, when you go look at the numbers and stuff, they say it's disproportionate because black folks only make up so and so amount of the population. Disregard that because we know in reality, they talking about from a political voting standpoint. When they talk about minority, majority, they're talking about voting. When we talk about sheer numbers, black folks, brown folks outnumber white folks. It's always been like that. You're telling me that you had all these black folks, you had white folks that was already smaller number because the Bible tells you that. And then you have all these wars. Hebrews multiplying in Egypt. Egyptians multiplying. Then you get to the point of America, and now you have all these wars. World War I, World War II, Vietnam. A whole bunch of people dying, but a whole bunch of white folk dying. And we still, at the time, outnumbering white folks in Africa and so on and so on. Because we know these things, right? Pretty basic math, pretty basic understanding. So all these white folks died during all these wars. When did the numbers of the white people recover to even surpass the black folks? It didn't. So when they're talking about that, they're talking about from a political and democracy standpoint. They're not talking about sheer numbers. Sheer numbers, there are more what we call black folks in America, South America, Canada, and just collectively around the world than there are white people. If you don't know that, you might want to travel. So you might want to travel some more, or you might just want to pay attention. Like, dang, okay. So boom, we as blacks, African Americans, whatever you want to call us, are basically the number one consumers of these luxury brands. Why? Because we want to, for one, y'all know how we is with our fashion. Two, because these luxury brands have been closed off to us so much. Now, when a black person gets the opportunity to buy these brands, they go buy them. They feel like, oh, I made it. I made it. But you're buying this. These folks. I give it to them. These Gentiles, they slick now. Oh, we don't have to brand y'all niggas. Y'all niggas is gonna come over here and buy our brands and brand yourself. So now you walking around with a Gucci belt. Basically, you walking around with a Slavemasters brand branded on you. And then he getting your money. Before he had to brand you, like that with the the cattle thing. Now he ain't got to do that. He got you branded with his brand, which is what they call it, a brand. Now you want to go, I got to have the Coca-Cola. I don't drink Dr. Pepper, I drink Coca-Cola. I don't drink, either one, I drink Sprite. I drink vitamin water. I drink this, I drink pure leaf tea. But you won't turn around and see, oh, it's all owned by the same companies. Oh, that company, that company is owned by another company because it's being traded in the stock market. So, Coca-Cola, you don't drink Coca-Cola, but you drink this, which is owned by Coca-Cola, which is owned by another company, which is owned by the same family. You don't understand the game. You don't understand what you don't understand what's going on. I'm not buying it because it's made in China. Certain thing I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like certain food, I'm like, man, I just can't make this in America. Let me get some garlic made in America. Why you gotta ship the garlic from China, grown in, you know what I'm saying, some stuff I ain't comfortable with. Just give me some good old garlic grown in America. You know, stuff like that. You know, and then, you know, trying to be making that fake food too. So I prefer to have my food where it's made in America, but we know we can't avoid everything. But this is what's going on, y'all. And you have to realize it. So the number one consumer of these luxury brands we know is, quote unquote, black folks. Now, there are many reasons on top of the reason I gave you. So when the Chinese are making these TikTok videos, remember the same thing happened when they banned TikTok, and then people were going on the red flag or whatever, and they saw that Chinese were living. A lot of white folks, you go watch these videos, the white people were going on there and see how the Chinese live, and they're like, oh my God, no way y'all live like this, and we over here struggling? No, we need to come together, because I'm sick and tired. But we've been saying we sick and tired. When the Chinese are making these videos and saying these luxury brands that y'all are going crazy over, and then we know the number one consumer of these brands are black people, black Americans, who do you think China is predominantly speaking to? The number one consumers of the brand, black folks. But y'all ain't putting the pieces together. They speaking to the slaves. Hey, slaves. We know what your slave masters are doing. You need to wake up. The luxury brands say, hey, China, we need you to make these brands. Okay, we got you. Because we doing numbers. We need more. Or really, we got you. China then makes it, ships it to them. They put it in the store. The consumers are coming to buy it. The number one consumer of these brands are what? Are black folks. You don't think that China knows that? You don't think that China knows the number one consumer of these luxury brands are black people in America? Therefore, when China is putting the message out about you ain't got to buy from them, you ain't got to buy the slave master's name to wear it around for free, and they ain't give you nothing, these folks don't give a damn about you. You can come shop with us directly. Matter of fact, you want your brand on it, we'll put your name on it at this point. Why? Because China knows. China's part of the game too. China is a heathen nation. They all in it together. The Bible tells you, Psalms. All nations are confederate against Israel. But God will use a situation like that and say, okay, we was keeping the secret. The secret isn't that these luxury brands are made in China. The secret is China knows who they're selling these brands to. The secret is y'all doing this to keep the ones you enslaved and continue to enslave unrighteously. Let's get it right, unrighteously. That's the secret. We know who the people are that you're targeting. We know who they are, just like you know who they are. Come, let us stop them from being a nation that the name of Israel may be no more. That's all nations. Remember, this is why I tell you, when y'all like these sermons where I be amped up, I be animated. But when I do those boring, what you would consider boring sermons, excuse me, it's a reason for it. I did a sermon a while back, a few years back. It didn't do too good. I think I did 2 sermons on it. And numbers, numbers is numbers. And it was a topic that a lot of people would not have been interested in. And I want to say it was talking about the just gentium. It's like probably a 2-hour sermon, maybe even longer, 2.5 hours. I can't remember. But it was talking about the law of just gentium. And I broke it down. And this law, you can go look it up, is Latin, just gentium. This law is the law that is the laws that dictate the economical systems of the world and how they do commerce. When you break the word just gentium down, which we do in the video, in the sermon, the word basically translates to the law of the Gentiles. What does the Bible tell you? Let's bring it full circle. The love of money is the root of all evil. And what is this law? Just gentium, law of the Gentiles, is a law in regards to commerce, money. So China's like, okay, you want to play that game? We know where this is going. We know where this is going. Y'all can't control y'all slaves like you used to. You lost power. So we're finna team up with Brazil. We're gonna team up with Russia. We're gonna team up with India. We're gonna team up with all these different nations because y'all are not the superpower we used to be in regards. This is what you have to understand. When they talk about superpower, they're talking about the superpower, the superpower, super leader of the slaves. Who is the head slave master nation right now? Is America. Then we know eventually it collapses, which affects all nations. Chaos, probably in between that, most likely, to bring in a new world order. The 10 nations coming together, got your 10 kings and so on and so on and so on. These 10 kings, they're still slave masters. But it first and foremost starts with Israel and not the people over in the land, because they ain't who you think they is. We've proven that. Too much evidence is overwhelming. If you don't agree with it, I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. It's as simple as that. But how do we get to this point? Our disobedience. The curse is kicked in because of our disobedience, and then we became the tail. All the other nations rose up above us, as the word said. And here we are today, still, no, not still, but now fighting to brand ourselves with the brand, the luxury brand of the slave master, his name or her name. This is where we're at with it. If we weren't disobedient, let's say none of this never happens, then guess what? The luxury brands that you call luxury brands today, they don't exist. It always comes back to us because the Bible tells you that. The issue is y'all are looking at the wrong timepiece. You're looking at things the wrong way. And the reason you're looking at things the wrong way is because you're not looking at it from a scriptural standpoint. So one more time, if the number one consumers of luxury brands are black folks, who is China predominantly speaking to when they say, don't buy these luxury brands that are selling to you black folks, you can buy directly from us? With that being said, God bless each and every one of you in Jesus Christ's name as always. Stay focused for Jesus. And as you know, the truth is not debated, it is declared. I love you. I just want you to come into the truth and not be in bondage to slavery, not be in bondage to luxury brands, not be in bondage to racism, not be in bondage to your own skin, whether you're black or white. Repent and believe the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ.